every decision I make is God, family, work. So when I came up with the idea of the podcast, it was faith, family, fishing. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a fishing story.
Well, welcome back to another episode of Faith, Family, and Fishing. Thank you for joining us. Today, we'd like to announce we have our first official sponsor.
Taste of China in Montgomery, Texas at 20212 Eva Street, Suite 140. Or it's right next to Kroger at 105 and 2854. Excellent food, outstanding service.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
So, give us your name. I always seem to forget that.
Galynn Ferris.
I take it, Galynn, you were born at an early age.
Yes, I was definitely. I was literally born the day before D-Day.
Really?
Yes, June 5th, 1944. My mother finished up supper, cleaned up the dishes, and said, "I think it's time." And so they got in the car. Now, this is 1944, and World War II is at its peak. Everything's rationed. And they get in the car and drive into Central City to the hospital, 11 miles. And they'd gone about 5 miles and a tire blew out. So my dad changed out the tire. And then as he approached the city limits of Central City, another tire blew out. So he drove on to the hospital on the rim.
You were almost born literally in the backseat.
True. And it was a Ford Coupe, small car. We get to the hospital, and of course, this is back in the day where the father is delegated to the outside, the anteroom.
Okay.
And so while my mother was doing the hard work, my dad mowed us down to the Ford garage. And there was a 1940 Mercury sedan on the showroom floor, had pretty decent tires, but he didn't trade. Later he said, I probably should have traded for that because it had good tires. Which was the point during the war, everything was rationed. You couldn't get new cars, you couldn't get new tires, and so you could only buy gasoline certain hours of the day. You were rationed to how much lard you could get, how much sugar you could get. That was all rationed. And so you had to have ration stamps. I still got ration stamps at home from World War II.
I don't even know what that is. I'm a pretty good history guy, but I didn't realize there were stamps.
Oh yeah, you just tear it out of the book. And the thing that really caught my when I was going through my parents' stuff, I found a ration book with my name on it. They gave ration books to an infant.
So everybody in the family got a ration.
Exactly.
Which, this is what I find amazing is, we've talked a little bit about it, is everybody has a story, then, we'll end up with a fishing story. But just to hear these stories, from, as I said, I think this is Joe Rogan meets Mike Rowe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this podcast, regular people in the stories. I'm just fascinated. Maybe our one viewer will too, right? they just love it. So everybody got ration stamps.
Everybody's family, yeah. And then, as I said, I was born the day before D-Day, and in 2019, I gave myself a birthday present and went to Normandy.
Okay.
And I just say, it was almost a religious experience. It's wonderful over there. Of course, this is the 75th anniversary, but I think they do it every year in June. Mm-hmm. And these lamp posts on street lamps?
Yep.
And they put banners on them?
Right.
The banners had pictures, names, and bios of Allied troops. I've never seen that in the United States. In Normandy, they had banners honoring the troops.
Wow.
75 years later. Friend of mine.
We could use a little of that today.
Yes. We went to Saint-Église-le-Maire, and they had a big stage set up in the town square. And, all right, 4 o'clock, wheels up. Okay, I was on a tour. So I hit the pavement with my camera and taking pictures and just looking at the sides. So about 10 minutes till 4, I headed back for the bus, and there's a group of women, 3 women, they're like the Andrews sisters. And they dressed up in World War II costumes. And they sing the music of the 40s, as the Andrews sisters did.
Okay.
And they're doing a sound check. And I'm standing there, oh man. And I'm looking at that and thinking, gee, I'd like to stand here and hear more of this. Well, he's on the bus. He's on the bus. Those two guys are on the bus. The bus ain't going to leave. So I stood there. We stood there for a good 15 minutes listening to them. When I got back to the United States, I met the tour manager, the manager for their tour. And he told me, he said they did 4 concerts. And the people just loved it. But he said, women and girls were standing in line to wait their turn to dance with World War II vets. Can you imagine? Girls, 4 generations, standing in line to dance with a vet. Amazing. So it was almost a religious experience.
That is so over there with it, just these Andrew sisters, you know.
Ladies for Liberty.
Ladies for Liberty.
Yes.
So in current times, they're singing, and then the vets that are coming back. You have
most of them in wheelchairs.
Yeah, all these women are just standing up, from teenage all the way up to dance with it, and just to show their respect.
Yes.
That is pretty freaking cool.
It is. It really is. When I got back to the United States, I wanted to kick somebody, you know. But anyway.
That's.
We need some more of that. They know what they had to go through, and they still, like 4 or 5 generations later, they still understand what that meant.
Oh yeah, that's. I mean, France France seems to be in the middle of every war, right?
Isn't that the truth?
Them in Germany, right?
Exactly. To be sure.
To be sure, right? So they seem to be. So that is with all the political environments that are going on, that they still respect what happened there.
Yeah, they do, and they honor it.
And the honor. That's awesome. So Central City is where's Central City at?
I spent the first 44 years of my life in a town of 75 people. That would be Archer. Okay, I grew up on a farm.
What state?
Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Yeah.
Okay.
I grew up. Archer is just south of North Star, just east of Worms.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I grew up in that area. Grew up on a farm. Didn't know any other life. I didn't want any other life. I loved it. So life goes on, and eventually, after I got married, I came back and worked on the farm. Went broke farming. So then I ended up in Texas, working for Continental Airlines, back when Frank Lorenzo was in charge.
Okay.
And was working as a pilot ground trainer.
Okay.
Systems ground school.
Okay.
And that's when I discovered I kind of have a knack. I kind of enjoy doing that kind of thing, doing training.
Is that where you picked up your love for airplanes?
No, oh no. Oh, my father and grandfather bought a brand new Piper Clipper in 1949.
Okay.
And flew it out of the cow pasture out back of the barn. True story.
Did you learn to fly with that?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
When I was in college, I got my pilot's license.
Okay.
And I flew the Piper Clipper, which is a tail dragger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And explain to people what that is if they don't know airplanes.
Well, you see, look, the Piper Cub, in your mind, a Piper Cub. Yeah, it's yellow. It's got a high wing. It's got 2 wheels on the front and a tail wheel in the back and a propeller. That's a tail wheel airplane. That's a tail dragger. Okay. And but they are demand a lot of attention when you're taxiing on the ground.
Okay.
So about 1950, they started putting the training wheel on the front, and they call that the tricycle gear.
Okay,
so when you go out to the airport today, that's probably all you will see,
right,
are tricycle gear aircraft, because they're a lot easier to handle.
Okay.
But so we flew off as I say, the cow pasture.
that is awesome.
Yep. But anyway, that's how I got interested in flying, is because my father and grandfather flew, and so I got interested in that. And when I was in college, I took flying lessons, belonged to the University Flying Club, which gave me a discount on flight time.
Right.
So anyway, and I did most of my flying on Piper aircraft rather than Cessna. But
Did you ever decide that you might want to become a professional pilot, or did you kind of like where you were going?
Well, to your point, in the mid-1960s, this is the Vietnam War. If you're not in college, you're going to Vietnam. So the question is, how do you want to go to Vietnam? Do you want to choose your way, or you just want to wait to get drafted? And I decided, what I did was I signed up for naval flight training.
Okay.
Navy pilots. In fact, the Blue Angels would draw bigger crowds than any other performance group. I mean, the Blues are the best. But anyway, so I signed up for naval flight training in 1966. Graduated in February of 1967. Was to report to basic training in April of 1967. So between graduation in late January and going to training, I went skiing. And at Aspen, Colorado, I broke my leg and required a plate in my left leg. So that put me out of commission for the better part of a year. And then the Navy said, well, are you going to take the plate out? Well, if I take the plate out, I can probably be a Navy pilot. Do I really want to be a Navy pilot? You know, okay. Especially right now. So I did not have the plate removed. And the Navy discharged me for the good of the service, I think is the term they used, because I wasn't physically able. And so that's what I did during the war.
Recover?
Yes.
That's not a bad way to.
And it's like, you know, I look back at that era and it's like, I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not proud of it. It's just life happens.
It's just what happened.
Yeah.
No, it's exactly. I mean, I hurt my back in the Army too. It wasn't. I finished AIT, but it felt like every time I ran, felt like a pipe wrench was squeezing my back.
Oh, really?
And so I could do push-ups forever. I was quite possibly the slowest man in the Army. And I got a funny story about that another time probably. But no, you know, life happens. And I felt. I mean, I think you had really a good story. It took me a while to kind of get over that because I felt like I could have gave more.
Yeah.
But it helped me in work I did later because I knew I wanted to do government work with the DoD, and I knew no matter what you do, no matter one of the things the Army taught us, whether you're 11 Bravo or way up the chain, your job is to help the warfighter. And so,
yes.
And you probably know a lot about that from World War II, right? You know how the country got behind everything. So that's why I got into government contracting, because I felt like at the end of the day, I'm going to run my team. I'm going to do this. At the end of the day, it's to help the warfighter.
Right.
So I think it changed me. At the time, I didn't know it was a good thing, but it matured me because Aaron said it best that you learn through pain.
Yes, that is true. We all do. Mm-hmm. And now that you mentioned that, I look back at Aaron mentioned that, and I look back over my life, and some of my greatest lessons came through pain, as a matter of fact. So
you got a good example you want to share?
Let me think a second. Well, let's continue.
Okay.
My goal in life, to your point, was to be a farmer. I can't imagine raising a family anyplace else than on a farm. I
love it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that was my goal, but it was getting nowhere. So finally in 1969, I moved to Texas. So I moved to Texas like in the fall of '69, and then bought a new car, flashy orange car with a big engine. I made it 25 once, right? So anyway, February of 70, I picked up February 69, I lied to you. February 69, I picked up the newspaper, Fort Worth Star Telegram. Dwayne Cole School of Aerobatics at Oak Grove Airport. Oh, really? I knew the name Dwayne Cole. He and Cole Brothers Air Show were very popular in the late 40s, early 50s.
Okay.
So I'm aware of the name. So anyway, he started up a School of Aerobatics at Oak Grove Airport, south of Fort Worth. That's about an hour's drive. I can do that. So I drove out there and signed up for aerobatic lessons. Okay.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it was fun. But at the same time, that 2 days before I got there, the woman showed up that they hired to be the receptionist. I married her. True story.
That's how you met. That's how you met. Oh,
That's how I met Linda.
Okay.
Okay. That's anyway. That's how I met Linda, and so we got married, and I moved back to the farm. Okay. She had 2 children.
Okay.
Whom I adopted.
Okay.
And we moved back to the farm, and I was living the dream. Okay. And that was early 1970s. And life goes on. About 1980, and you've probably heard of the farm crisis, and I was right in the middle of all that.
Okay.
And so I can give you great detail. You really don't want to hear. So anyway.
I know plenty of stories.
Anyway, I tell people I went broke farming, which is easy to do. And so then 1984, I had the farm sale. And 1988, I got the job with Continental Airlines in pilot ground training.
Okay.
And that's when I kind of figured out, I kind of enjoy this training thing, So anyway, we moved to Texas, and my wife was killed in a car wreck on Mother's Day. Back to your question about pain. Still had the house in Nebraska. She was with me in Texas for the weekend, and the youngest teenage daughter, by now we had 3 kids, and my youngest teenage daughter was in Nebraska. And so one thing led to another, and through God's grace and a lot of help from a lot of people, we made the move. I moved my daughter, 16-year-old daughter, from her ancestral home to the 4th largest metropolitan area in the United States. I think she's finally forgiven me. But anyway, and so then I was working for Continental Airlines in pilot ground training. And for those who don't know pilot ground training, you get in a classroom, okay? Hot air comes in here, cold air comes out there. In between, it's pure magic. That light comes on, you turn that switch, call maintenance. Any questions? When you're at 35,000 feet and that light comes on, they're not going to fix it. What does that mean, and what can I do about it? Okay. That's systems ground training.
Okay. That's an interesting. I never thought of. I mean, well, obviously I'm not a pilot, so.
Yeah, right. But of course, if you see a cockpit, it's full of switches and lights. That's correct. That's systems ground training.
Yeah, this is the light. This is the light you need to know. Okay. What does this light mean? What is okay?
And this light means something else.
This light means something else.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. So you're basically a single dad doing this in.
She's in Nebraska. I'm here in a rented house and traveling back and forth. Of course, we had passes, and so we could travel without charge.
That was the day when the pat. Okay.
Yeah, and I tell people, back in the Lorenzo days, non-revenue flying. Non-revving was more fun when the only people that would ride on the airline were the employees. Now people actually pay for that abuse. But anyway.
Right. Oh, that's. So now you've moved your daughter here, right?
Moved her here for the school year in September of 1969.
Okay.
No, I lied to you.
79.
88.
Oh, 88. Okay.
1988 was a tough year for me. And then September 1988, she moved here, started school at Klein Oak.
Okay.
And then in the fall, I met Dee, who had a daughter in Klein Oak High School also.
Okay.
So I don't do long engagements. We got married in February of 1990 or 1989. I'm sorry. We got married in February. But,
okay. 89 was a good year. That's the year I graduated high school.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah, 89's a great year.
Yeah, see, my daughter graduated in 92.
Okay.
So there we are.
Okay.
So I tell people that I have 4 children, but only one has my DNA.
Okay.
So we've got, a modern blended family on the one hand. On the other hand, life is good.
Life is good. And so you brought all these people under one roof. So that had to be a little.
It was challenging. That's the word, challenging.
Challenging, right? But it sounds, with God's grace, now they're all brother and sister, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. When you look at everything, starting in February of 1981, when my brother's firstborn died from sudden infant death syndrome at the age of 5 months.
I had a cousin who just happened that.
Till 1995, that span of time, it's a wonder I'm not in a padded room someplace. And the reason I'm not is because of God's grace.
Well, one of the things I thought, would be good about why I wanted you to do this interview is you're always in a good mood. I mean, you always have interesting stories. You're always in a good mood, and I think that's something to say, and I think that's a choice.
Truly, true, yeah. When I met Dee, she had gone through a divorce, and so she was telling me about this self-help book called Happiness is a Choice. And as life goes on, I've decided happiness is a choice, but joy is a fruit of the Spirit.
Okay.
Galatians chapter 5.
Man, we should put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Happiness is a choice, but joy is a fruit of the Spirit. And when you see a joyful person, it's because the Spirit is in them.
Well, and one of the things we're trying to do with this podcast is different, and it is a we. You met RJ, who's behind the scenes.
Yeah.
What we're trying to do is, get some wisdom from people like you. I want people my age, people my kids' age, to know that there's not one way to success.
True.
And all the people that we've talked to so far definitely has God in their life, and so I think that has a lot to do with it. But I want people to know that, because today we're telling our kids, you got to go to college, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to kind of check the box. And I'm not against college. I got a master's, so that's not what I'm saying. My sister-in-law's got I think 2 masters. So I think the degrees are well, but I also knew 2 plumbers.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're the most successful. One of them's going to be on the podcast. They're probably some of the most successful people I know, and they have high school degrees.
Let me tell you my favorite lawyer story.
Okay. This is why I love you.
This lawyer, big high roller, big fancy mansion, lots of clients, lots of money, gets ready for a Super Bowl party, invites all his clients, all his friends and relatives. 2 hours before the party, pipe bursts. So he calls a plumber. Plumber comes out, fixes it, hands him the bill, charges him $1,000 an hour. $1,000 an hour? I'm a lawyer. I don't charge $1,000 an hour. I didn't either when I was a lawyer.
That's awesome. Is that a true story?
No, but
okay.
the point is, what's important?
What's important? No, that's exactly correct. So we're into the end of the 80s, right?
Right.
And so you're still at Continental Airlines.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, to your point. Continental Airlines had a big layoff in '91, and I got caught up in that one.
Know a little bit about that?
Pardon? Well, then
layoffs.
Yeah. So I ended up in Florida working for a non-scheduled airline, but they called Carnival Airlines, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of. Well, actually, it wasn't a subsidiary. It was owned by the owner of Carnival Cruise Lines. I think he's since sold out, but he started Carnival Cruise Lines. And he had a casino in Bahamas, so he needed an airplane to get his customers to the casino from Florida, and then Carnival Airlines, and then they decided to build it out. Anyway, I went to work for them in pilot ground training, and I also did a little bit of work on the panel. I never did actually control the airplane, but they flew a 727. By the way, I specialize in obsolete 3-engine airplanes, like the Boeing 727.
DC-10, is it the DC-10?
Yep, I learned, when I was in Continental Airlines, I started training on the DC-10 too.
Do you remember the day, and it probably wasn't that happened, but the DC-10, I remember where the engines were just falling off?
Yeah.
I remember flying out to Florida to go to Disneyland, and we were on a DC-10, and I was 9 years old. I was like, we're gonna lose an engine. So I remember that. And so no, that the DC-10 was. I flew on it several times after that, but I just remember that was and it probably only happened once.
The one I'm thinking of is American Airlines out of O'Hare.
Yeah, probably only happened, but you know, rumors spread.
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Rumors spread. So, are you flying back and forth from Houston to Florida, or did you move?
No, we rented an apartment in Houston, my wife and I. We didn't sell the house. We kept the house.
Okay.
We had 2 mature daughters. I say mature, they're both adults, and they both lived in the house.
Okay.
But we rented an apartment in Florida for a couple of years.
Okay.
She, at that time, had gone from reservations into working at gates.
Okay.
And so, you know, when you work for an airline, the most important thing in working for an airline is seniority.
Right.
Seniority is everything in the airlines. And so she was, even though she was a recent hire, she was getting pretty senior because they had a lot of turnover at Continental Airlines when Lorenzo was in business. I used to stand up in front of the room of flight attendants and I'd say, well, I got some good news and some bad news. The bad news is you're all going to be assigned to Newark. The good news is 6 months you can bid anywhere in the system because the turnover was that fast.
In Newark is, you know, in that area, it's like the busiest airspace in the country, right?
It is.
It's, you know, when I used to do a lot of travel, I mean, planes, and we need to look and see what planes were coming. You're like, it's coming out of Newark. I'm gonna be delayed. you just know because it was either O'Hara or Newark, and both of those you were going to be delayed.
Right.
And you just, okay, well, I'll just stay here. I'll stay at the bar an extra 15 minutes or 20 minutes, right? Because I know it's not going to be on time. It was that predictable.
Oh yeah, I think they're better, but you're right. It's still.
I think it's better now, but you know, back 15 years ago when I was flying.
Part of it is when you're talking about the FAA was first come first served. Now the FAA says, do you want to fly around in circles up in the air, or do you want to wait at the gate another 30 minutes?
Okay.
In other words, they do a better job of planning. You hear a lot of talk about the air traffic control system being obsolete and the computer systems and all that. And there's some truth to it. On the one hand, they collect a lot of money on taxes, and they don't always spend it on upgrading the air traffic control system.
I have a friend that is he's retired now, Joey, and he works in the air traffic controller industry. Now he trains people.
Yes.
And they just part of the bill that, you know, people either like or hate. I think they got these upgrades that they really needed to kind of train people, and I think they're and even upgrade the systems within.
Oh yeah.
And so it was. And so anytime I hear anything, you know, that happens, what do you think, Joey?
Oh yeah.
What was that, pilot or no? That one was a pilot, even though it was a pilot. Yeah. But I know pilots too. They're going to say no, it was ground. You know, I get to be in the middle, like, okay, you know. So that's awesome. So you're in Florida. Where do you go from there?
Well, I was there just for 2 years, and then I came back and got into software training.
Okay.
I got a hot tip. Computers are here to stay.
Yes, they are. Yes, they
So
are.
anyway, I got in doing.
Well, you know what's interesting is we laugh at that, but you come from an era that, and I know some people. You come from an era that was before punch cards.
Oh yeah.
And so that, you know, like my daughter, you know, she's got this in her hand, right? More information there than you could possibly want. But you come from the era where you actually have punch cards to do computers. So that it really is, you know, from point of view, you've seen the change.
Oh yeah. The Union Pacific Railroad has this, what they call the big boy. It's that big, huge locomotive, okay? And I can't think of the name of it, or the number of it right offhand, but every now and then it'll come through Texas. And so we go over here to Navasota and set up my video. Oh, it was a perfect day. I set up my video camera and I'm videoing this doggone thing. But can you imagine that thing was built with the slide rule and drawing board?
Okay.
No CAD software, no digital, all analog, just drawing boards and slide rule. Can you imagine that?
I mean, well, just the ingenuity that, you know, I think some of us have lost, right? That we,
well, yeah.
In that, I've seen cans of oil. When I was at Exxon, I was back in their data center, and they used to keep them just for relics. But so because we were upgraded, we were getting rid of the minis and the mains. Mainframes is what we're talking about. But it was a can of oil for mainframe.
Oh, really? They had to oil them?
They had to oil. Yeah, they weren't air cooled. These were so it was. They kept it on the shelf as kind of a reminder. That was pre-vax. And not vaccination, vax computers.
Right.
So I had to make sure that if any young people, what are you talking about vax? No, vax is a computer, right?
Yeah,
so exactly. I mean, I've seen both sides of that world, right?
Right.
You got to see it. That's what I think is so fascinating, to see how the world has changed, right, between here and there, and and I think you hit on it in the beginning, how in Normandy, they respect the past and everything else. And I think these stories that you tell are important because we need to remember where we come from.
Thank you. I agree with totally. In fact, I'll skip to the end in the sense that when people retire, they die. And when I was in my 20s, I'm like, this guy retires, he's been farming, he's in his late 70s, moves to town, in less than 2 years, he's dead. And that's just unique to farmers, right? But then when I moved to the city, it's true in the city too. People 65, 70, 72, they retire, and in 2 years they're dead. And I've decided I don't want to die yet, so therefore I did not retire, okay?
Okay.
I took my pension and changed careers.
Okay.
My new career is producing videos of antique machinery in operation for fun and profit. Mostly fun because there is no profit.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask you, where did you? I heard a reoccurring theme, right? And we didn't prep for this, but I heard a reoccurring theme about, I'm gonna go over here and take this video. I'm gonna go down here and take this video. Mm-hmm. So you somewhere along the line you picked up this love for video,
yes.
and now you're doing it, for fun and profit. Right?
Mostly fun.
Mostly fun. And I think you're going to talk with RJ to see what you can do with, how you can
at some point, yeah.
How to streamline it.
Yeah.
Do you put it anywhere for people to see?
I have had a YouTube channel.
Okay.
I say have had, it's still there, but I fed up with YouTube, and partly because I need somebody like RJ to usher me through it. I rent space on another channel called Vimeo.
Okay.
And so I rent space and put my videos up there, and then I have a pay window. So.
Okay.
No customers, but I got a window.
Well, hopefully, as we'll have you back, is tell them where, we'll put a here in the bottom line. We'll get with RJ and we'll put a link to where your stuff's at, so people can go see it.
Right.
And we'll continue to kind of push that when we can. Maybe you can be our second sponsor.
It works.
Do that. So you turned. But I think what you're telling everybody is you don't let your brain slow down.
Correct. Yes, that is right.
It's not so much. You're not so much doing it because you're going to go make some money. You're doing it because you're not going to. You have fun doing it. Kind of we don't expect to make any money from our one viewer watching this, right?
And
thank
you for watching.
Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. But the idea is it keeps you busy.
Yes.
So I think that's. I've always said you're as old as your mind and your spine.
Oh yeah.
If both of those are healthy, you can do almost anything.
Oh, that is true. I will go with that. And my wife right now is struggling with the spine part, mm-hmm. So I know exactly what you're talking about. As far as the mind is concerned, it's slowing down.
We see it in our family and everything, and sometimes you can't help it. But I think that's why I, even more now is I've got to take care of myself, and I've got to and teaching my kid. And I see my wife and kid go at it, but teaching the kid that what you do now is going to be later. So teaching, without getting too much in politics, I think it's good that we're going to get chemicals out of the food.
Yes, me too.
And so just so overall, this generation, the next generation, can be healthier than probably I am.
Since I have been doing or more of the household chores, I'm making a point to buy fresh food and eat fresh vegetables and fresh fruits, not canned fruit.
Right.
I mean,
It tastes different.
Yeah.
If I had the patience and time, I would love to garden, just because tomatoes right off the vine, there is no different. I mean, you can't compare the two, what you buy in the store once you get off the vine. Well as strawberries.
Oh yeah, 2021, and we flew to Des Moines, Iowa, rented a car, drove to it's a little place in northeast Iowa, right across the river from Wisconsin. We stayed in Wisconsin, okay, and it was Caterpillar show. Caterpillar Club's having the annual show, so we go there Friday night, going to this steakhouse, and they had a table at least as big as this, bigger, covered with tomatoes that big around. Oh. It was in September, and just when they're at the peak. I walked in there, I took one look at that. I said to the waitress, I said, "Are those for sale? Are those to eat?" And she said, "Yeah, it's on the salad bar. I'll take the salad bar."
Oh, yeah, that's exactly right. It's just the fresh. Did you ever? So we'd get a few wild strawberries, kind of going up. But what we used to do as a kid, and I seen them at my new house. You've been to the house.
Yeah.
It's only for the dewberries.
Oh yeah.
It's like a weed, but when they come up, I just kind of I just go through. I think Ella was like, "What are you doing, Dad?" I go, and it gets all over your palm.
Oh yeah, your purple palm.
And I said, "Taste it," and she was like, "Oh," and then she goes, so a little sweet, little sour, and she goes, "Well, that's good, right?" It's little things like that a lot of kids just drive by.
Exactly.
I think we all.
Exactly.
So, what would you tell generations behind you, right? Like kid my daughter's age, people my age and a little younger. What would you tell them as a piece of advice if you had to kind of narrow it down?
I guess I would try to, in context, what I learned through the 1980s and 90s is that God is forever. The grace of God. Here, I'll put it to you this way. Life happens, but grace also happens. So don't miss the collateral beauty, okay?
Oh, okay.
There's a movie by that name, Collateral Beauty. And the theme of the movie is, I think it's Denzel Washington. He big high roller, computer company, New York, okay? And he and these 4 people started this company, and they're really about running, and his 6-year-old daughter dies from leukemia, from cancer, and destroys him. I mean, the guy's in another world. But life goes on. And after about 6 or 8 months, he's got to make some decisions. They got a buyer for the company. These people are getting ready to move out, but they have troubles of their own also. So they have to figure out some way to get him interested in getting back into the world. And that's when they hire a company, a troupe of actors. Or are they a troupe of actors? Maybe they're surreal. But the point is, don't miss the collateral beauty. Every time in a tragedy, don't miss the collateral beauty, because there's something beautiful going on also. Don't miss it. You've seen the bumper stickers that say, happens. Mm-hmm. I clean it up and say, life happens. But grace also happens. So don't miss the collateral beauty. Whenever something dumps on me, I immediately look for, okay.
What am I missing?
That's right.
What am I, Aaron told me something, past when, I was kind of going through some things, and with a riff, and he said, and I'm like, what am I going to do? Because there's a bigger story behind where I landed in it, but he was like, be curious.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Be curious, and it was the best advice that I think I think, and once you kind of get past, because I've never been one to kind of just lay down. I was like, I'm gonna go take this head on, but rather than just being not just bold, but be curious. Be curious. What am I missing? Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of the beauty of it. I would have. So I will bring up our little shared story. So do you remember when the church split, right?
Yes.
And then we kind of had a men's group.
Yes.
And this is, I'll never forget this thing. And so me and you are kind of hanging out. We did beef ribs. We talked a little bit about scripture. We did beef ribs.
Yep.
And I'm like, hey, I just got some good rum in. And you're like, I will try that. And you know, like, me and Galynn are going to be friends. And again, I'm not a big drinker, but I'm like, but I do like smooth rum. And,
oh yeah.
And so I'll never forget that story. Like, yeah, I'll take 2 fingers.
It was very good too.
All right, so we're at that point, right? So we heard your story.
Yeah.
Now we want to hear your fishing story.
Oh, and I had to think about it because I'm not a fisherman. I don't do a lot of fishing. However, when I was like 8 years old or thereabouts, my father and my uncle and I and my grandfather, 4 of us went to Minnesota to go fishing. And like
Beautiful lakes.
8 or 10, yeah. I think we went to Lake Bemidji, I think is where we had. I do remember from that trip, I got to see the headwaters of the Mississippi River, which are not far from there. And never done trolling before. All the fishing I've done is, you dunk a line and scratch the chiggers. But anyway, we're trolling every day. We stay in the log cabin at night. And I don't know anything about fish other than muskies, muscalons. Oh yeah, I want to catch one of those things. Yeah, you bet. Feed a family of 4 for a week,
Yeah, you're from that area where they
they're right from the Pleistocene age, right? Mm-hmm. Dinosaurs would swim. Anyway, no muskies. We caught a lot of pike, northern pike.
Oh, okay. Big teeth.
Yes, but just a miniature muskie.
Oh, okay. True, yeah.
So anyway, my uncle, on the other hand, had it. He wanted to buy a walleye. Catch a walleye. That was his thing. I want a walleye. The best eating. I'll take your word for it. I wouldn't know. But anyway, okay. So guess who catches the walleye?
Well deserved.
So that's my fishing story.
That's awesome. But I think the point is, like you said, grace, faith, and the kind of name of the podcast, faith surrounds us, right?
Yeah.
That you have it or you don't. But I mean, I'd like to think I do, most of the time.
Yeah, right.
And it picks up. But I think fishing is this gift God has given us that connects us all.
True.
And you don't realize it till you think about it and you say, oh yeah. Now some of us, like me and Aaron, although I'll pick on Aaron one more time.
Sure.
Is his fishing story was terrible. So we're gonna have to bring him back. It was a boating story, Aaron.
Oh, yeah.
I love Aaron. But it's because he really is a great fisherman.
That's what I understand. Did he say it on your podcast or was it at church? He said, is there something wrong with somebody that goes to Fort Lauderdale, or not Fort Lauderdale, but Florida Beach to fish every summer? Same place, every summer to go fishing. Is there something wrong with that, he says?
We've got such a great family.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Like and subscribe. We're also soon going to be hitting Instagram, X, and Spotify. So as we mature the podcast and everything that we do. Thank you again. Thank you for everything. And every time I talk to you, it's something cool. So thank you for coming on the podcast. This was for me, not my one viewer, right? Just because I love you.
Well, I hope they enjoyed it too.
I hope they did. There's no way they didn't. So thank you, sir. All right.
You're welcome.
Good night.
Thank you.